Like, honestly, I'm already drowning in business, which sounds great and terrible all at the same time, but there's enough coming in that I don't have to worry about it anymore. What I would say to that is that's exactly why I started leveraging course. Like, it is more in depth than that, but once you know how, you can't unsee it, and then you just go do it. Like, it sounds complex from the outside until you know, and then once it's like boom, 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 here's the formula. Follow the formula. And once you have that, that's all you need.
Welcome to Real Estate First Technology. Are you someone that wants to passively prospect, get on YouTube, leverage your past efforts for your future successes, potentially be the mayor of your local community in town, featuring what price point can you buy in your area, the pros and cons in living in blank city? Well, we're about to bring on a special guest who has someone that transactional, crushing it as a real estate professional, wanted to have a baby, had a baby, and the YouTube channel was still feeding her business. And then she's like, you know what? How can I help the community? So we're going to go ahead and bring the one and only Kaila Lindsey in to Real Estate First Technology. And welcome to the show. Super excited to have you on today.
Quite the intro. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. No, it just, I think that this is what we'd like to do on Real Estate First Technology is shine more light and to help the community, because the thing is that there's a lot of courses, there's a lot of agents, there's a lot of things out there people can kind of look at utilizing. But the thing is how do we get kind of like a open the hood, backseat, kind of backstage, like understanding behind the method of why, how you got started, why you got started to the course and how it works. And, of course links are down below to get more deep into what you have to offer, the courses, and to actually get the help. But at least they can get a different perspective as far as like the motivations, why you got started. And it's cool because I get to ask you the questions.
Heck yeah, I'm ready for it.
Awesome. Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about, you've been in real estate. I saw on your Instagram page since, what is it, June 23rd, 41 million in transactional volume. So congratulations on that. So you're a newer mother, right, too? I think you have a son, it looks like.
Yeah. So my little one is 15 months old. When I started my channel, I was 2 months pregnant.
Wow.
Morning sickness and everything. And morning sickness is a lie. It's all freaking day. It is not just in the morning.
Still getting through it though, which is awesome. And that's a testament to the fact that hey, you got a little one on the way, you got things to do, you're gonna have to take care of them. Right. And so you got to keep moving forward. So congratulations on doing as such. And so going through the process and then transacting, being pregnant, and then having a little one and doing the course. I mean, how do you do it all? Holy cow.
That's a great question. I don't sleep a lot is really what it comes down to. I will say this, to be perfectly honest, leverage is one of the biggest things that I can tell anybody to do. And leverage is photographers or people that measure things or people that drop off signs in lock boxes. Like, it could be as simple as that. Leverage can be technology, right? By, leveraging technology to do things for you, not just Chat GPT, more in depth, where it's like your CRM system that's doing things, like any of that, that's leverage. So making your voice, and here's the thing, YouTube is leverage, right? So YouTube is my leverage. I can speak once and it speaks for me for years to come. And I told somebody, I was like, I cloned myself. Like, it's a joke, but it's not. Like, legitimately, from a sales perspective, I cloned myself, because 56 hours of watch time is what I get in a 24-hour period to my ideal client. It's impossible for me to do on my own.
Yes, impossible. 100%. I saw one of your very first videos, 42,000 views on that. And those are all prospective potential customers, which is huge. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people talk about this whole artificial intelligence, and it's great to use ChatGPT, but then that's for text or to copyright or to help with various things. Like Canva is great for artwork and design and what have you. It's just, how do you clone yourself? Like you just said, which is passively prospecting, talking about the area that you serve, putting it onto YouTube, and just literally passive prospecting. I mean, that many hours, you can't call that many hours. You can't door knock that much.
It's literally impossible. Like, even if I went 24 hours straight, we're talking 56 hours. But here's the thing. It's to my ideal client, right? Yeah. Like, if I go out, and I was a cold caller, by the way, guilty as charged. Okay. That's how my first 6 years of the business, I cold called, and it was great. Wow. And it was exhausting, but I did it, and I was profitable. But here's the challenge. yes, I had a list of people that had raised their hands. If I were to just go out right now on a whim, knock
Mm,
on doors, walk into even a crowd of 1,000 people and shout from the rooftops, hey, anybody want to buy a house? It is
yeah.
very unlikely I'm going to find someone that says yes. And then let me sit down with you for 25 hours and speak with you about all the things I know about the area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Instead, they find me because
Yes.
they already have the desire, then they consume my content. And here's, I think, the biggest thing. I don't hear people talking about this, even those that do YouTube. And I know you and I both know some people that do YouTube at a very high level. What
Yes.
I'm not hearing is the rapport. Like we've got everything coming down from
Ah,
NAR. People are freaked out that nobody's going to sign buyer
yeah.
agency agreements. Guys,
Yeah.
when I'm on my very first phone call with them, they're like, where do I sign? Like, where do I
Mm,
sign? I'll sign right now because
I
they
love
already know
that.
me, like me, and trust me. Like they know I'm the expert. They
Yes.
know I'm the person that they need to call. So why would
Yes.
they go anywhere else? Like it doesn't even dawn on them when I say, cool, let's
I
sign a
love
buyer
that.
agency agreement. Here's why.
I love that 100%. I agree with you. And that's where even on, for trans, like for just give people a little bit of like outside of who's in real estate and who's just watching right now so they can get a different perspective. Even small business owners out there, for the Lift Off agent side that sponsors the show, we had a client of ours find, say, Levi Lassick, one of the clients who work on the Lift Off agent side. Then they found Lift Off agent, went to our YouTube channel, and we have videos that go
Mm-hmm.
out every week as well. And as soon as she came in, she's like, I'm not trying to give you buying signals, but I basically want to sign up. And she said she met Agent Image, Luxury Presence, all these different companies. And she's like, I already knew that you were the company to work with based off the videos. And it gave me the confidence because I knew, like, and trust you. But more importantly, you spoke the language that I didn't speak because I came from a completely different industry. She comes from the ultrasound industry. And
Oh,
she,
wow.
she franchised 350 locations 25 years ago when the 3D ultrasound technology first came out. And
Wow.
so, yeah. And so it's just like, what in the world? And so she understood big business, but she didn't understand real estate. And then she understand that's where the rubber met the road with Liftoff Agent Her. So I was like, oh my God. So
So cool.
anyone who's outside of just real estate, just for, just to give you a little bit of, contrast is the word I was looking for there. It's so true. And it works so well because it's awesome too. I think agents need to think about this, even if they're to follow you or hire you for your course. And I know you have a mastermind coming up here soon. That's also
Yeah.
leverage. They're
Oh,
leveraging
yeah.
you and your past efforts and what you've learned. And then you said it yourself before we got on air. It's like, you're different than maybe the Levi Lassics or anyone else there in the industry who's doing it, but you're a different flavor. And people are going to like your
Yeah.
flavor over someone else's.
Well, here's the thing, the basic principles remain the same. Like no
Mm,
matter what course you go for, what coach you go for, basic principles remain the same. It's the same for cold calling or door knocking
yeah.
or any of those things.
Mm,
They're all core principles, but the way that you learn them can be different. The way that you
yeah.
apply them can be slightly different. The way that you organize, like for me, I do one video a week. Like that's my thing, one video a week. And I thought about going
Easy.
and increasing, but I got 7 calls in the last 4 days. Like I don't need to
Wow.
put more videos up. Like honestly, I'm already drowning in business, which sounds great and terrible all at the same time, but there's enough coming in that I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
But what I would say to that is that's exactly why I started leveraging a course because
Mm-hmm.
so many people were coming to me and they're like, hey, how are you doing what you're doing? Because they've already been coached by me in some way, shape, or form. And they're like,
Yeah.
just tell me how to do it. And I'm realizing I'm sitting there going, dude, I can't explain this to you in a 30-minute or even hour-long conversation. Like it is more in depth than that. But once you know how,
Mm-hmm.
you can't
Mm-hmm.
unsee it and then you just
Mm-hmm.
go do it. Like
I
there's
love
like it
that.
sounds complex from the outside until you know. And then once you it's like
Mm.
boom, 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 here's the formula.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the
Mm-hmm.
formula. And once you have that, that's all you need. You can
That's
ebb and
huge.
flow from there. There's like because you know what a formula is. We all do. We all went to school. A
Yep.
plus B equals C. Well,
Yep.
you can change A and B out a little bit as long as it's the same context, right? So you can
Mm-hmm.
say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, now I want to talk about this kind of topic and I'm going to do it in this way. As long as you're formulating your videos in the same format every single time,
Love
people
that.
keep coming back. It's
I
so
love that.
exciting.
I love that. And it makes sense too, because I feel like it's like after 30, 60, 90 days, psychology states that's when you start forming a habit. And so when you have
Yeah.
the same formula, the same process, the same video, it's like a TV show, like we'll just say HGTV, because that's perfect for the space that we're in. And it's like they know what to expect, right? Whether it's the
Yes.
intro or the way that it's being delivered with the host. And of course the narrative changes, the drama changes, the house changes, or what have you. but it's
Yeah.
the same exact formula. And I love that. So really quick question for you, for anyone out there who's making cold calls. So you said something about 7 years of cold calling to then, let's get some contrast here. 7 years of cold
Yeah.
calling to jumping on YouTube and passively prospecting. The difference. Give us some feedback here from like how many calls you made and how much success you had to how many videos you put out there to how much success you've had.
So I'll put it this way. I was a professional cold caller. And I say that it was 6 years, not 7. But that being said, it was literally every day. Like it was every single day, 5 days a week. And I did a webinar about 3 weeks ago for another agent that I know for his team. And somebody on his team was like, oh yeah, I was in the office next to her. I would hear her for 3 hours. And if I didn't get an appointment, I'd go on for 4 hours, maybe 5 hours until I got an appointment. And usually I'd get one in the first like hour. But he's like, I knew her script as well as she knew her script because I heard it every single day for months on end. So I was doing that. Here's why I always said I love cold calling. And to this day, I'll say I love cold calling. But it's not the act of the call, although I do love the win. When someone's like, okay, I'll meet with you. I'm like, yes. Right? Like I almost just like live for that. Just like, yes. But I love cold calling because there was a formula. If I made this many calls to this many people, I use this script in this fashion, I ask this many times, I will get this many appointments. From there, I will get this many deals signed. So I could sit there, I could wake up Monday morning and know how much money I was going to be setting up for myself by the end of the week. That's what I love about cold calling. Now, making that shift into YouTube, the reason I got away from cold calling, I was pregnant, right? It was everybody's got that moment in their life where they're like, not another moment. And mine was middle of July, AC broken at my office space. I'm 2 months pregnant and I'm literally on the phones cold calling. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I am done. I am not doing this anymore. And that's when I started working to find something new. So I actually went cold turkey off of cold calling and went full mindset on I'm doing YouTube. I'm doing it at a high level. By the way, you guys don't have to do that. But for me, it was, I have to go figure this out. And then I went and found people that were doing it on YouTube and stalked their YouTube pages, stalked their websites, recreated them all from scratch, right? Like that's what I did. But my days cold calling were 3 hours of cold calling every morning, driving to 1 or 2 listing appointments in the afternoon, and I would go wherever. Like if it was within an hour of where I was going. But sometimes I wasn't getting home till 9 o'clock at night, right? Because they're like, oh, we don't get home till 6:30. So when I'm driving there, I'm sitting there for 2 hours and I'm driving home, right? And there were some weeks, it was 80-hour weeks. And I did great, multiple 6 figures. But I was about to have a child in my life. And that's not how I wanted it. I didn't want to spend my evenings in someone else's living room. I wanted to spend them in my living room with my family, enjoying that, right? So I knew something had to change. So by shifting to, I want to work less hours, it came down to, okay, go pay for ads. That was the only thing that anybody ever teaches us in real estate. Well, if you don't want to work hard, work smart, go pay things, pay for ads, pay for, all of those websites that I probably won't mention just in case, but we all know who they are, right?
Yeah.
They were expensive. The leads were crap. I've done them. They're terrible. So I already knew that wasn't the route I wanted to go. That's when I found YouTube.
Wow.
And what the shift was in this, like in my market, for example, one of the many sources of internet leads is Zillow.
Yeah.
In my market, for the kinds of leads that I'm getting, you would be spending probably close to $400,000 a year.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Mind blown. Right. So by going all in on it though, and I say all in, this is just a mindset thing, guys. Like I wasn't spending 80 hours a week on this. It was just my mindset was all in on this. I understood who my avatar was. I spoke directly to them because I wanted to also shift my price point.
Yeah.
Average price point was $450. I wanted to shift that. I wanted to go into the 700-800s. And guess what? I spoke to the people, but what are they looking for? The people in the $1 million price point. What do they need to know when they get here? So by doing so, now my days look like, outside of my coaching program, now my days are more so I spend 2 hours a week on YouTube. That's it. But even yesterday, I got a $2 million lead. Really great family moving here, want to buy on the lake. I got another one the day before. Another one came in today. I have now other YouTube agents that we refer business from city to city. Because when people move to the state, they don't know what city they want to be in. So I made friends with other agents with YouTube channels in those cities. And now we refer each other business because we know that's how that client wants to learn is YouTube. They're going to get along with that agent really well. So it's been a total shift, but now I can be home 5:30. I clock out. Like granted, sometimes I stay up a little bit later after my little one goes to bed, but I'm out. Like that's the lifestyle I choose, and I can do it now because people are finding me, and I don't have to sell them. They already sold themselves.
Wow, that's awesome. I love how it
Yeah,
was out of necessity, right? You have a little one
yeah.
coming. You got to shift it. You got to be smarter, right? People say work smarter, not harder.
Something's got to
And
give.
something that has to give. And I love how you really focus all of your attention and then switch it a bit. It's one thing to say like, oh, I want to move up. I want to work with move up buyers. I want to work with downsizers. I want to work with a specific avatar type. It's another thing to say, I want to work in this specific area. I want to work in this specific
Mm-hmm.
price point, and I want to put my mindset into what the mind of the buyer and or potential, I guess you could say even seller, would want to buy. We'll just focus on that point because you
Yep.
talked about just getting $2 million buyer. And so, and then showing them the homes and showing them the price points and showing them what they can get. I mean, my wife and I were moving from California to Arizona outside of Scottsdale here in Gilbert,
Yeah.
Arizona. And that's what I did. I found some guy on YouTube who was showing me the area. I didn't want to fly. I didn't want to have to drive. I didn't want to have to get a
No.
hotel. I didn't want to rent a car. I didn't just want to be able to unplug at the end of my evening, watch some videos and see what's out there. And I feel
Yeah.
like this is becoming more and more of a thing. And I think right now the biggest issues for a lot of agents is like either it's analysis with paralysis or it's because how they look or how they sound or what they're going to say. And I feel like
Yeah.
so many people forget. I remember meeting this agent and I said, when you film videos, pretend like you're talking to someone on the other side of that lens that
Yes.
you're looking at, that you care for, that you want
Yep.
to serve, that really needs you. And they're gonna reach out to you and say, "Oh my God, Jane, like
Felt
that
like you're
video
talking to me.
was exactly
Yeah.
like I thought you were talking to me and exactly what I needed to hear." And so that's where I feel like people don't understand. It's like almost like another way of manifestation, if you will, to like
Yes.
manifest and to kind of almost like drive people down the yellow brick road of what it is that you want them to do. But I feel like people
Yes.
haven't tapped into that. They don't
Well, and here's
understand
what
that.
it is. They don't understand, I say they, as agents, and in most people in
Mhm.
most industries, we're taught niche down, but no one tells us
Mm,
what that means. Like to us, the only thing they say is, do you want to be luxury or not? Do
yes.
you want to be in this area or this area? And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want a niche. I'll take any business that'll come to me. I'm broke.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yes.
So, what I mean by niching down when I'm teaching this is be yourself, but literally, like you said, picture that person. What are their challenges? Like, I write this down. What are the
Yes.
challenges they're facing? So if I'm doing a video moving from Texas to North Carolina or California, North Carolina, I have a list of the challenges they're facing, right? And
Wow.
as I'm talking about this, I'm like, well, you know what I mean? Because you guys have like $6 in gas prices right now. Don't worry,
Mhm, mhm,
325 here. And it's things that they're like,
mm.
oh shit, I was talking about that with my friend just the other day. Wow, she totally knows me, and you can go more in depth on that. Like if it's people moving
Yeah.
from Florida, specifically in Florida, over 65, leaving Florida, I know
Mm.
what their challenges are. Insurance rates are going up, so fixed income isn't working anymore. It's a pain in the butt to get any kind of health services because they're all booked out. So there's not enough doctors there. So, like, as you start learning these things, I can just start dropping that into my videos because that's my audience. I'm talking to people looking for 55 and over community. I can say, hey, if you're coming out of Florida, you know what that's like. We don't have those problems here. So you can start to really connect with your target audience. And niching just means being specific. Like you're not a cookie. You're not going to make everybody happy, right? Not everybody's going to love you. That's okay. Like I don't attract everybody that goes to YouTube. And there's other creators that don't attract my clients. And my clients have told me that. They're like, there's a lot of competition out there, right? And I said, yeah. So why'd you pick me? They're like, because you put so much information into your videos and you're very personable. Because I don't just read it. Like I leave my bloopers in. Like I'll stutter and be like, let's keep going and just keep going. And people like that because I'm a real human. I'm not reading the 5 o'clock news.
I love that. I love that. So give us like a use case scenario where you wrote something down and after writing it down, you filmed the video, and after filming the video, you had a phone call, a text message, process of someone that you talked to, and it was like almost to the T of what you like envisioned, I guess, if you will.
This is a great one because I was actually just coaching my mastermind crew on this the other day. So I've been doing some testing on a few things too. Also, like, hey, how long can I go without posting before it'll like actually affect my channel? apparently quite a while. Not a while, but anyway, sorry, I'm doing some testing. It's been fun. Like now I can kind of be curious with it. But I was really honing in because I want to increase the number of leads that I'm getting for the more affluent individuals moving to the area. So I've done videos like of most affluent towns, most wealthy areas in Charlotte, etc. But some of the biggest questions I get are schools. So I did a video, two back-to-back videos, week after week. One was the top 5 best public schools. The next one was the top 5 private schools. And the week following that was, do you want private school or public school? And does the schools around you affect your home value? So I was keeping a theme there for a reason. The interesting part about it was like literally the people that were calling me, following me, posting that. And by the way, you just posting a video doesn't mean that's the person that's going to call you. Like they'll find you
Yeah.
from the video a year ago, but there was an increased number of people who were calling that had children, because this is what I envisioned, children between the ages of 6 and 13 years old who are either going into high school or they're interested in like elementary being good, right? Nobody cares about middle school.
Yeah.
So nobody, even the people that go there to care about middle school.
Yeah.
But I saw an increased quantity of people moving here in that, range, but also the price point. The price points were definitely higher. They were in that 650 to 900 price range, and some were locals, which was really
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I am getting listings off of it as well from local individuals just wanting to go from one spot to the other.
Wow. That's awesome. So I just like to give context for anyone who's listening or viewing to really get to wrap their brain around this, because you're one of the first guests, and we've had guests on that leverage YouTube and go through this process and go down this roadmap. I just feel like you have a different spin. Like everyone has their own way of kind of like showcasing things. Maybe it's just something for me personally I can vibe with a little bit more, because I just like how you really line it out in a sense of like the ideal avatar, go deeper with who you're speaking to and imagine that person being on the other side. And we talk about it, allude to it from the sponsor side for Liftoff Agent sponsors our show, but it's cool and it's refreshing to hear it from someone else. And I think that whoever's listening and viewing, hopefully that helped them as well, because it definitely adds a lot more value there. Let's now go into kind of, for anyone who's listening, they're now sold. They're like, this is great. Now, I'm gonna go follow. I want to go find more information. Let's talk a little bit about the course, a little bit about the education portion of it, because you have 2 YouTube channels, and those links will both be down below. I was actually checking out both of them, because on the educational channel, you allude to, not all the views are here, but you're going to have to go to my other channel. If you want to type it in, you go ahead and over there. So you have the masters in real estate, which is great for educational, for anyone who's listening, viewing that's in the real estate space that wants to maximize YouTube and passive prospecting, and then living in Charlotte, North Carolina. Both those channels are down below. But let's get into the educational portion for the viewers and listeners out there that want to maybe go and, potentially utilize you or check you guys out.
I love it. Yeah, it's funny. YouTube, the way that they work, you can't just like put your channel on pause. So I had a lot of people going to my old channel, which I speak to. It was my failed channel. Like it was the channel that didn't really go anywhere. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I started from scratch doing it the right way. So yeah, have fun with that first video that's on there. My thumbnail video is great. My trailer video. So that being said, I do have a course. I've done it several different ways, but right now I am in the last week of our launch. It's going to be finishing up April 30th. If you guys are listening to this podcast though, and it's slightly past it, just reach out and do a clarity call with me and let me know. But starting May 6th, we're actually doing this for the first time ever, but it's going to be a 6-week intensive. So it's called the YouTube Accelerator. So it's a 6-week intensive, which is going to be some recorded videos, but we're going to be live on a call with me showing you, teaching you, getting involved with you, you asking live questions as to how to apply this. And the goal is that by the end of this 6-week course, there's a 1-week break in between. So it's technically 7 because we have to do recording, right? So by the end of this, you're going to have a fully functioning SEO optimized, operational, bringing in leads channel.
Love it.
That is what this is all about, because I had so many of my students are like, do you offer one-on-one? And as much as I want to, I'm a mom of a 15-month-old. I've got leads coming in for my own real estate business. I just don't have the bandwidth. But I love having people going through a course like this together
Yeah.
so that they can truly learn not only as a group and ask each other questions, but learn for others' mistakes as well as
Mhm.
others' advantages or what they've learned.
Yeah.
So yeah, going through this, I'm so excited to do it. But it's going to be, somebody was asking me the other day about it, and I was explaining what it was. They said, "Oh, so it's YouTube made simple." And I was like, "Yeah, basically, I am not an analytical. So if you are an
Yeah.
analytical, I'm just putting it out there." And it's funny, I get a lot of analytical clients from YouTube because I go really in depth on detail. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm not as analytical because I feel like sometimes people go too deep.
Mhm.
That if for YouTube, right?
Yeah.
If you almost have too much information, you start overthinking it. Well, should I do this first or do this first? Like I had done
Mm.
a done for you course, which I don't have available at the moment we're speaking because I have
Yeah, yeah.
my live one. But I had one of the chapters of that talking about picking a channel name. And I was having some people DMing me like, well, should I do this or do this? I'm like, dude, don't overthink it. Like they're
Yeah.
finding you from your videos, which take them to
Yes.
the channel.
Happening.
The channel name
Mhm.
kind of doesn't matter. Like to be
Mhm.
perfectly honest, like it really doesn't matter as long as it doesn't say XYZ real estate. No one wants
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, they want to know about the topic. They don't care less
Yes.
about you until you prove otherwise. So they
Correct.
were overthinking it a little bit, which made me realize I need to simplify this a little bit. I need to make it so they don't overthink it, so that it is
Mm.
something you can move forward on. Because the, I'm going to say complexity is the
Mhm.
enemy of
Mhm.
everything. Like you will
Mhm.
not succeed if you overcomplicate it. So yeah, this is a simplified version. This is
I love it.
a, you get in, you get it done, and you get the accountability. And that was the other key piece that some of my people were looking for in one-on-one. They're like,
Yeah.
I've got this course. I'm not pushing myself to do it, right? But if you're
Yeah.
showing up on week 2 and you haven't done what you're supposed to do, guess
Mhm.
what? I'm going to call you out lovingly because that's what you hired me to do.
Exactly.
Lovingly, always. But I'm going to help push you across that finish line to make sure you do
Mhm.
what you set out to do.
Love
And
it.
that's just anybody who's ever coached with me. That's just the way I am. You asked me to be there, I'm going to be there. But I'm just not a, you have a head and a face and a hand in the room. I'm going to make sure you succeed. So
I
yeah,
love
that's what we are doing right now. I'm so freaking stoked. I'm actually doing a webinar right after this,
it. Let's go.
which is going to be fun. So it's going to be, I'm not going to say intense. It's going to be very doable. You're not going to bite off
Awesome.
more than you can chew. And I'm going to prove it to you in that course.
I love that. I love that. So would you suggest as far as like, and I'm sure you'll go through this in the course, is it like thumbnail, copy, editing, filming? Would that
Great
all be
question.
predicated based off the agents doing that?
Yes. So it's going to take us from start to finish. So each week it takes you one step further into the process. And
Okay.
then the cool thing is by the end of it, you literally each of those weeks are your steps every week of what you do to make a video.
Love
And
it.
yes, it's going to be elongated, but it's
Yeah.
going to be all simplified into 2 hours of you doing work a week. And I elongated over those 6 weeks because it's 6 steps that are going to get done and you need to understand the why, the
Yeah.
how, and the
Yeah.
implementation. That's what it is. The why, the how,
Mm.
the implementation in detail. How to find topics, right? And why?
Yep.
Why am I doing these topics? How does this apply? How to create your avatar, which is extremely important. It's that backbone there, the
Yes.
foundation that we don't think about until we're
Definitely.
utilizing it. I'm going to go through thumbnails and why you need to do it a certain way and why you should probably have two so you could do A/B testing, right?
Yep.
How to leverage things like TubeBuddy if you've never used it before. It's a
Mm-hmm.
key piece in my business. I'm going to go through how to actually film the video. So there's like 4 different styles of video. I'm going to take you through each one, how to film it, what tech to use, where to look, and I'm going to go over why you do not need a script. Like this is one of the biggest things I get. I do have scripts prepared so you can get
Mm.
comfortable. But the only 2 things you should ever have scripted in your channel is your call to action and your like and subscribe. That is it.
I
That is
love that.
it. And they
I
do
love
not
that.
include the fact that you're a real estate agent. They don't include the fact of what firm you're with. They don't include any of that. It is a very simply, I'm
Yep.
here to help you move. Here's my info below. Go do this. Key fun fact for everybody listening, don't ever put your contact information in the video. Put it in the
Love
description.
it.
Because if you change firms or you go out on your own or your phone number changes or you change it, any of that can change. You can change description, title, tags, everything, but the video remains the same. So never put any of that information except for
Super
your
smart.
name in the video.
Yeah. Last thing you want to
So
do is
yes, we go through all of that. Now I have to add this too.
Yeah.
because someone was asking me about this. They said, I don't know how to convert. There's an entire
Mm.
module dedicated to converting. How do you follow up? How do you handle the first call? How do you book them? It's things that I didn't think about. I guess because I was a cold caller for so long that like I
Yeah.
knew this was my structure that I had created
Natural
for
to you.
myself,
Yeah.
but it wasn't commonplace for most. So I'll talk about how do you take the first call? How do you, I'm not going to say push them off, but how do you set the expectation of what you're going to do? It's not a question.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you're going to do
Mm-hmm.
when you're working with me. We're going to set the
Mm-hmm.
appointment for this date at this time. How to handle that first call. Here's like the 6 things you're going to hit. And by the end,
Yep.
here's the action items you need to complete. And then how to follow up with those people, how to handle the first meeting, how to then pass off to a showing assistant if you choose to leverage after that. These are all things that you can grow in your business, especially as you start to expand, that I feel like nobody's talking about because I think everybody thinks
No.
it's so simple. And it is if you know how to do it. But
Yes.
until someone tells you how to do it, you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And I think a lot of it too, people understand it's like, you don't go in about why or how or who or anything. You just go in with it already is. It already
Yes.
is your client. It already is someone you're working with. It already,
Yes.
and it's like, until they tell you otherwise, it's better to go off it like you already have the deal and it's already closed until they say, hey, hold on, I'm already working with someone. Hold on, I'm not ready yet. Or hold on, like this is too
Yeah.
much for me. And then you could come back, pedal a little bit and say, okay, wait, okay. And then maybe ask some other questions and go through that process. But I love that you're doing that because I feel like that's where it's like a lot of, because even if someone says, go through your course, they learn it, they figure it out, which I think anyone should do this, learn, go through the course, understand, because a lot of times agents like to delegate before they actually understand and they actually implement themselves. And then they can be a
Yes.
true leader because they're leading by example based off the experience that they have, instead of having no experience, not knowing anything. I'm too busy for all the things, so I'm just going to go hire a company. And that's where I feel like the sponsor plays in, which is nice. You can hire Liftoff. We could do all the things behind the scene for you, but it's not going to make sense if
You
you
need
don't
to
even know what you're doing in
understand
the
it.
first place.
Yeah.
Correct. You have to
And
understand it.
I've had a lot of students that are like, hey, can I just put my assistant through it and do the filming? I'm like, sure, but I don't think you're going to get much out of it. And they're like, well, why
Yes.
not? I was like, because it's not like that. Like you have to understand. Yeah, they can pull the topics for you and they can do all that. But if you don't know how to present it or who your avatar is or where you need to be on film or camera or how to, it's just not going to work. Like the pieces aren't going to come together. Like it all has to be fluid. You have to understand how to set up each video. You have to understand how to film.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's like I'm filming for like 30 minutes, right? It's not anything crazy. And for those of you who just gagged, 30 minutes, think about something you really love. You can talk for hours about it, right? We're just taking little snippets, pulling some info and adding our opinion in there. You could go on for an hour. So it's very doable. But to your point, this isn't something you could just leverage 100% of it. Like some people are like, can I do a faceless YouTube channel? It's like, do you ever want to work with an agent that you've never seen their face? Like, well, no. I was like, then why would anybody want to choose you if they haven't seen you? Not to mention, everybody sees you. So everybody knows what you look like. They know how you talk. Like, I know I have a gap in my tooth there. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows these things. We're just self-conscious about it because we see it as a flaw. Everybody else just sees it as, but that's who you are. Like, that's a part of the package. That's it. So it's interesting to see it. But yeah, I would say if you're somebody who you're like, hey, I'm just looking for a company to do it for me, that's awesome. I would recommend don't move forward with YouTube because you are the person that's selling and you literally only have to put 2 hours into it. Like once you learn it, it's 2 hours a week max. And there are phenomenal companies like yours that can do background on that. There's phenomenal companies that can boost your SEO for you. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand how the video itself makes that impact, nothing else matters. You can SEO the crap out of that video, but no one's going to watch it because they get to minute, 30 seconds in, you're still talking about the award you won in 94. And they're like, well, I'm out, they didn't get any of the content they needed. There's a structure to it. You've got to understand.
Yeah,
but
most definitely.
You get it.
I love that. And just to add a last little kind of note to that last point, like if anyone who's listening and viewing wants your assistant to go through the course, like the authority isn't going to be there because the same respect, you respect your assistant. it's not going to be the same respect as you would get going through the course, right? And
No.
actually hearing it from you first and foremost, because like, you go to an event and you hear this amazing keynote speaker, you're trying to talk to your husband, your wife, or your partner, and you're like, oh my God, and you're like trying to
You should
explain it
have
all,
been
but
there.
you should have been there, right? The delivery is just not the same at all, and like
No.
the energy and all the things. So yeah, I 100% agree.
Well, and
And
do it. And I would say, do it with your assistant, right?
yeah,
Like I have
yeah,
clients all the time. They're like, look,
yeah,
me and my assistant, me and my editor, we both want to go through the course together. We're a team.
double coverage.
Yes. Like come in. Like I want you there. I want you both to learn. You're a team. Let's do it. That is
Yeah,
something I welcome all the time. I have a lot of teams that are in my course. I'm not going to say, well, there's 2 of you, so that's 2. No, get in, learn, apply together because
yes,
that's going to make you succeed. That is my whole goal. Because if
yeah,
I get phone calls and texts and emails from you guys that are like, hey, this whole thing doesn't work. I applied everything verbatim and it's a no-go. There's literally no way you can't get leads if
I love
you
it.
do exactly what I'm telling you.
This is huge. This is huge. I love this. This episode's absolutely amazing. I know you have an event to get to, so let's end the show on a note of, you already gave tons of feedback, but if someone's out there on the fence post, whether they hire you or somewhere else, they're thinking about getting on YouTube or not, like what's the one last thing you would like to leave for our viewers and listeners as we close out the show today?
Everybody's different. You may align with another coach, and I think that's awesome. I think at the end, as long as you can get in, get the knowledge, have the what I consider proximity to the person that you feel is going to have the best impact on your business, whether that be me or someone else, that's where you need to go. But you have to take action. Like nothing is going to change unless you take action and you're consistent. YouTube is a long game. It's not instant gratification. If your business right now is like, just literally there's nothing happening, it's dead, you need leads fast, this isn't your leads fast. But if you plan on being in business for the next 6 months, 12, 4 years, 10 years, this is one of the coolest, best, most inexpensive ways to do it. And you have to start sometime, right? Plant a tree 30 years ago. Next best time, now. If I had waited 2 more years because I wasn't sure if it would work, I wouldn't be looking at 17 million already under contract, listed or closed for the year, since January 2024, first day. That is the kind of impact. Like I'm on track now to do 54 million this year, which is nuts. This is what it can do because it keeps compounding. So whoever it is, do not sit on the sidelines, which I hadn't talked to you about this, but if anybody does want to go grab my course, get in and learn YouTube, you could book a clarity call with me. But if you do choose to book because you've listened to this Lift Off podcast, use the coupon code LIFTOFF at checkout. And I've got something special for you guys. Yeah, nice big chunk off the price there just for you guys.
Kayla, you're awesome. This has been amazing. And the cool thing is one thing to just teach and maybe be in production and then get out of production and just teach, but you're teaching and you're in production and you're a mom and all the things. And
rescuing dogs. Hold on. Here's my little mess right here. My little foster number 54.
We talked about a little accident right before the show, but thank you for your help and services out there to help the little ones out there that need to find homes. My wife and I are actually thinking about foster caring children. So we'll see what happens with that whole process. And so we have a 5-year-old currently. And so some more to come with that. But links are down below. Check out Kaila Lindsey. Check out her podcast. Check all the her YouTube channel, all the things that she's doing. Thanks for watching our podcast. We appreciate your time and we appreciate our guests' time because it is our intention for you to take things from episode to apply your business have more massive success. Subscribe, like, notification bell. Thanks to Liftoff for sponsoring the show. And thank you so much, Kayla, for being on the show again. Appreciate it.